Imagine this. You're standing on a legendary battlefield. The fate of an entire kingdom is on the line. But the biggest battle isn't with swords and arrows. It's the one happening inside the hero's own soul. This is the story of a warrior's ultimate dilemma and the timeless wisdom he received in his darkest hour.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This guy here is Arjuna, one of the greatest warriors of his time on the brink of a massive, world-changing battle. But look at him. He's not fired up for a fight. He's completely broken by grief. The text says his eyes are filled with tears. He literally throws down his bow and arrows, slumps down in his chariot, and says, "I'm done."
So the big question is, what on earth could bring a warrior of this caliber to his knees before a single arrow has been shot? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into Arjuna's incredible crisis and the absolutely radical wisdom he's given in response, all coming straight from the ancient text of the Bhagavad Gita.
All right, so first, we've got to understand what's really going on here. This isn't just about winning a war for Arjuna. No. For him, it's this gut-wrenching, impossible choice between his sacred duty as a warrior and his deep love for the very people he's supposed to be fighting.
You see, when Arjuna looks across the battlefield, he doesn't just see an enemy army, he sees his own family. He specifically calls out his grandfather Bhishma, the man who practically raised him, and his teacher Drona, the one who taught him everything he knows about archery. He's basically crying out, "How can I possibly fire arrows at men I should be worshiping? It's a sin."
And he goes on saying that any victory he might win would feel completely empty. He'd rather live as a beggar than rule a kingdom that's built on the bodies of his own family. He says any joy, any pleasure he'd get from that kind of victory would just be stained with blood. It would be totally meaningless to him.
So his mind is just completely spinning. He's lost his moral compass. He doesn't know what's right or wrong anymore. He literally says, "I don't know which is worse, fighting them or letting them win." He's totally trapped with no idea which way to turn.
Now, in this moment of just complete despair, Arjuna turns to his charioteer, who is also his divine guide, Lord Krishna. You'd think he'd get a shoulder to cry on, some gentle words of comfort, right? Well, what he gets instead is a sharp, almost shocking wake-up call.
Krishna's response is, frankly, startling. He doesn't console him at all. Instead, he basically tells him to snap out of it. He calls his grief unmanliness and petty faint-heartedness. This isn't just tough love, it's a deliberate shock, meant to completely reframe the situation. Krishna is saying, your problem isn't your compassion, it's that you're failing your duty.
And this divine rebuke, it actually works. It completely jolts Arjuna. He realizes his own emotions, his own logic, they've led him into a dead end. He gets that he needs a higher perspective, something beyond his own confused thinking.
And this is the absolute turning point of the whole story. Arjuna puts aside all his pride. He's no longer talking to Krishna as a friend. He formally surrenders to him as a teacher. He says, "My mind is confused. I am your disciple. Please instruct me." This changes everything. The relationship is now that of a student seeking wisdom from a master.
But, just saying the words doesn't magically make the pain go away. Even after asking for help, his heart is still shattered. He makes it crystal clear where he stands. He says, "I will not fight." And then he just goes silent. His mind is open, but his body and his heart are still completely frozen.
Okay, so now Arjuna is quiet. He's ready to listen like a true student. And this is where Krishna begins his teaching. And get this, he doesn't talk about battle strategy or the politics of the war. Nope, he goes straight to the very root of all human suffering, our confusion about who we really are.
Krishna kicks things off with this absolute bombshell of a statement. He tells Arjuna, "You're speaking like a wise man, but your tears show you're not wise at all." Why? Because truly wise people understand the way things really are. And because of that, they don't grieve for things that are temporary, not for the living and not for the dead. And this brings us to one of the most important ideas in the whole text, the difference between sat and asat, or the real and the unreal. Krishna's point is that all our sorrow comes from one big mistake. We confuse the unreal, things that change and disappear, with the real, the thing that is eternal and never, ever changes. This chart breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the body, which is asat. It's unreal in the sense that it's temporary. It's born, it changes, it dies. It's perishable. But on the other side, you have the soul. That's sat. It's the real deal.
It's eternal, it's unchanging, and it's completely indestructible. Arjuna's mistake is that he's grieving for the perishable body, and he's totally forgotten about the eternal soul living inside it. Krishna then lays out exactly what this soul is. He says it's unborn, it's eternal, it's ancient. And then he says something amazing. Weapons can't cut it, fire can't burn it, water can't make it wet, and the wind can't dry it. It's totally beyond any physical harm. He's directly answering Arjuna's fear. He's saying, your arrows can't kill what is truly real.
Now, that's a pretty big, abstract idea to wrap your head around, right? An eternal, indestructible soul. So to make it super clear and easy to understand, Krishna uses this simple, beautiful analogy that people have talked about for thousands of years. First, he says, hey, just look at your own life. We all know that the body we have now isn't the same one we had as a baby or as a kid. The body is always changing, from childhood to youth to old age. But the you inside that body feels like the same person, right? He says a wise person isn't confused by this. And in the exact same way, death is just another change. It's the soul moving from one body into a new one. And here you can see the original verse in Sanskrit. This short passage contains one of the most famous, most comforting illustrations of reincarnation ever written. It's an idea designed to take away the fear and sting of death completely. And here's the translation. It's so simple, yet so powerful. Krishna says that grieving over a body that dies is as illogical as grieving over a pair of old, worn-out clothes that you're throwing away. The person inside, the soul, simply casts off the old body and puts on a new one to continue its journey. So this ancient wisdom, born on a battlefield, really challenges us to look at our own lives differently. It asks us to see all the changes, the good, the bad, the gains, the losses, not as these huge tragedies, but just as passing moments in a much, much longer story. It really makes you ask yourself, what am I really afraid of losing? What am I grieving for? And what do I really believe is my true self?